I was wrong, guys. I was completely wrong. The video that I posted a few days ago titled Accept Your Sin. There were some things in that video that I said that I now realize were incorrect. I didn't fully grasp my understanding of the realization that I had because I had only realized it the day before. So I didn't yet fully grasp it. I still had to sit with it, and some pieces had to click. Typically, how revelations go, or realizations, or whatever you want to call them, is you'll get it, and then you'll have to. That's why it's revelations, because it's not something that you can you found on your own. You'll get it implanted into your head, and then you kind of put the pieces together up to why it makes sense afterwards, and you put together the evidence for it as you go. So the revelation I had was that it was in the video, all right? We needed to accept our sin. Your sin is your ego, and it is whatever you are most whatever your biggest dopamine source is, all right? So for lust, it's sex, your biggest dopamine source. For gluttony, it's food. Wrath, it's anger and raging. Sloth, it's sitting around doing nothing, being lazy. For envy, it's wishing and seeing other people do bad things happen to other people who are doing better than you and hating on them. For greed, it's hoarding resources, hoarding things and keeping them all to yourself. And lastly, for pride, it's a feeling of superiority and validation from others. Each one of you guys watching this right now has one of those things that I mentioned that is the thing that drives you the most, the thing that you crave the most. And that is your biggest dopamine source. So it gives you the biggest dopamine hit. And what dopamine actually is, it's not the pleasure chemical, it's the motivation chemical. So my main point in the video was that your ego really is just whichever sin motivates you the most. Whichever sin is driving your vessel, which is your body, your mind, right? The things you actually do on a day-to-day basis. Right now, my vessel is walking down this road and talking to my camera. That's what my vessel is doing, right? And there is a intention and a motivation behind every action that you take. That motivation, that intention is either motivated by ego or source. And you have your ego inside you, it's attached to your body, and you have source inside you that is not attached to your body, but it is still residing and it's trapped in your body right now. Every action that your vessel takes is motivated by one of those two things. If you're being motivated by source, what is source? It's the oneness that connects us all. It's the oneness where we all came from, or where all our souls came from, and it's the same thing that is inside all of us. And therefore, what the motivation of source is to raise the collective. And how do we do that? Is basically reducing the suffering of others. Because for source, one person suffering, one individual soul inside a vessel suffering is the collective suffering. So when you're motivated by source, you're motivated to help reduce the suffering of others. And what your individual purpose is whatever your vessel enjoys doing and is good at. So for me, I enjoy coaching and I'm really good at it. So my purpose is to help coach others so that they can reduce their suffering, help coach them how to reduce their suffering. I have a client is really good at cooking and loves cooking, and his purpose is to create a vegan restaurant and to help reduce suffering by giving people a place where they can get food that is free from torture, enslavement, suffering, rape, slaughter, which is what is necessary for us to make and consume meat, make a safe haven for people to sustain themselves and enjoy themselves doing that, right? So that's his individual's vessel's purpose. And when he's being motivated, my client, his sin is gluttony, right? So he's either motivated by gluttony, and he even admitted to me when we talked about this last call, said, yeah, like the reason that I'm not losing weight is because all these meals I have to make for this school that I'm going to, this vegan cooking school, I am eating them. I'm telling myself that it's for the greater good because I need to try it for my cooking. But he admitted to me, now they had this understanding that I just explained to you in the last video, and I explained it to the entire group, and we all as a collective admitted our sin. He said, now I realize that actually I'm just doing it because I'm making all this vegan food and I'm eating all of it when I don't have to because of my gluttony. And that's why he's not losing weight. And I knew that he was lying to me about what he was eating because it didn't make sense for him scale not to go down based on what he was tracking. But because he had we have shame behind our sin, we can't admit it. All right, even me with my gluttony, I explained to you guys, I was on the plane with my brother, or I was flying from Chicago all the way to Joshua Tree in California, where I went to an event, and my brother and I had these realizations. And like I said in the last video, gluttony is one of my sins as well. It's my number 2. And in the, we said we were gonna fast. We were gonna fast together until we get there. In between the second plane ride, I got watermelon gummy candy from the store. I sneakily ate it on the plane so he couldn't see because I was ashamed. All right, so that's the thing we have to realize, that we have a natural shame of our sin, which makes it hard to accept. But acceptance is the first step, because if you can't accept your sin, you won't actually be able to identify your ego. You won't actually be able to identify when your whole entire vessel is being operated by sin, when it's being motivated by your material dopamine source instead of being aligned with source. Now, where I was wrong in the last video was that I said that the sin that you carry is attached to you forever and you will always relapse. The goal is just to relapse as little as possible, and that's winning. It's basically pushing back your streaks as long as possible. For my semen retention streaks, it's just 1 week, then 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, get to 90 days. All right, the most I've ever gotten to was 80, which is important for one of the reasons that I was blind to this and blind to my own sin, which I'll share with you in a second. But where I realized I was wrong was that actually that's not true. You can't avoid sin for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life, me being lustful, I now fully believe I will never watch porn again. I will never masturbate again. I fully believe it. And I did on the last video, I just got the revelation the day before, so I had an experience living with my new understanding. It was just, I got the revelation, and then the next morning I made the video talking about it. And because I was basing it on my own experience of like, I always will relapse. But now, with my new understanding and me living it for the past several days, guys, I'm never going to relapse on my sin again. And really, what I should have said is that you will always have to battle your sin. It will be it's attached to your ego, and therefore it will be a never-ending battle to stay aligned with source and to fight your sin. But you can win the battle till the day you die. This is what I now realize. You can win the battle till the day you die, but you will fight it every day. And the first step to actually winning the battle is actually identifying, acknowledging, and accepting your sin. I accept that, yes, me, Michael, I am an extremely lustful man. I have an extremely lustful vessel. Which means that my brain is extremely motivated and gets the most dopamine from sex by far, from anything else. And the reason that this is key, guys, the reason that I didn't even realize that I was lustful. I thought that I was less lustful than 99% of men on the planet. I genuinely thought that. Now I realize that I'm one of the most, because I'm one of the most who are motivated by sex, if I allow myself to say my ego. My body is most motivated by sex, and therefore your lust, like I said before, your sin is your motivation. It's your dopamine. I am probably more motivated by sex than almost any other person that I know. So why did I think I was less lustful than 99% of the world? It was because I falsely viewed sin as action. I view sin as action. Objectively, I knew that I masturbated, I watched porn less than 99% of the population. They're going most guys are masturbating at least once a week. Most more than that. And that was not me. Mine was pretty infrequent, way more infrequent than that. I thought that because sex is like a biological drive, which it is, that every man is experiencing what I'm experiencing in terms of the motivation and the pull towards lust. It's just that I am less lustful in all of them because I'm best able to resist. Really, this is not the case. The case is just that the mindset that I've been in for the past several years is that I understand that I don't want to lust. Most men, they're like, okay, but porn is actually good for you. That's like the basic like NPC level understanding, right? That porn is good for them. A lot of guys, they're not even lustful. They're just doing it because it kind of feels good, and it's good for me, so I'm gonna do it, even if they're not like that. Sex isn't their like main dopamine source. Maybe it's like they're like fourth or fifth, but like they still do it because why not? Right? It feels kind of good, and it's good for me. But for me, the reason I was able to avoid it and do it less than them is because I knew it was bad for me. I had no society knowledge. I knew it was bad for me, and I didn't want to do those actions. Okay, but what I didn't realize was that actually, my sin is lust more than all these guys because it is what's motivating me the most. It's where I get the most dopamine. I get more dopamine from lust than most men. So where I was wrong was that it's not your actions that determine whether you're sinful or not. It's the intention behind your actions. No action in and of itself is inherently sinful. It's the intention behind it, the reason why you're doing it. I realized that I've been motivated by lust pretty much totally up until this point in my life, besides like a 3-month period when I was 22, where I was so purpose driven and was and had lust in the backseat of my car, right, which is my vessel. Like I said in the last video, guys, I'm gonna make another video, kind of like a presentation where you guys can better see it visually. But we have our car, which is our vessel. You have our source and ego, which is your sin, your dopamine, in your car. And either sin is in the driver's seat, your ego, or source is in the driver's seat, and they're driving your vehicle. Basically, is the motivation behind all your actions. Okay, so my motivation behind my actions when I am not lusting is to use my gifts and my knowledge and what I love to do to help reduce the suffering of others. But when I am overcome with lust, it's all for the purpose of lusting. But it would, because I was, in addition, I was not engaging in hookup culture because I knew that was an immoral action. So when I would post, like, you guys, if you follow me on Instagram before, like, I'd always post myself shirtless in the gym with some like sick like music in the background with a pump, looking like stoic and like, you know, masculine as hell. And pretty much every time I did that, guys, it was because I wanted women to lust me. What I would do is I'd post that, and then I would go, when after people will see my story, I would go in and I would get dopamine from seeing attractive women viewing my story every time. And that was why I did it, but I didn't realize it because I'm like, oh, I'm not lustful. The reason I'm doing this is not because of lust. It's because I want to inspire men, right? And that action of me posting myself in my story, that action, like I said, no action is inherently sinful. Even the worst action you can think of, there could be a hypothetical situation where it is not sin that's motivating that action, where that action is for the collective good of us, of the collective consciousness. But I wasn't. I was motivated by lust. Even me discovering the entire method, guys, was because I wanted sex. All right, what was I? I was a loser. I had a broken dick, totally fucked up hormones, no confidence, complete social insecurity, complete anxiety, just a shell of a man, and women were repulsed by me. I go talk to a woman, she'd be like, ew. And because at the time, in my unconsciousness, I was so driven by lust, and because I was so repulsed to the woman, I knew that I felt like I could get myself to the point where I wasn't. That's what drove me to discover the method, guys. That's what drove me to do all my research and get to the point where I am now. So since Saturday, when I had this realization, what has changed? Because then it was Sunday that I made that other video for you guys. I hadn't yet lived any life with my new perspective. And now that I've lived several days, I can tell you, I am never going to fall into lust ever again. But I'm going to have to fight it every day. I know how to fight it now. The way we fight it is we must be constantly checking ourselves for what our motivation is behind our actions. Anything that we should do, we check ourselves. Okay, I'm gonna give one example. Say I'm opening Snapchat, right? Because I'm like, oh, I want to see what my friends post or what's going on in their stories, right? But subconsciously, I realized, this was like a couple days ago, I realized that what I was doing it was because every time I opened Snapchat, they put some like hot Instagram or Snapchat thought showing her ass on the like the For You page, like right there, right when I open it, when I go to the stories, when I swipe to go to the stories section. And I realized that was what I was constantly doing when I did it. And I felt God's voice say, no, like, don't do it. And I was like, oh, yes, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to lust. Even though my cognitive self was at first like, oh, go look at your friend's stories. Go see what they're doing. I want to see what this particular friend was doing. I realized that was just a Trojan horse for my sin. And so I didn't even open Snapchat. And now I'm checking myself at every moment of every day. I'm saying, is lust driving me or is source driving me? And it's been a completely 180 in the way that I am. Now I take back what I said last time, in that I will always relapse. It's about how long you can go before relapsing. No, guys, you can get to the point where you never relapse as long as you adopt this understanding of what I'm telling you. And the first step is to accept your sin. What's happened since then, guys? My life's been amazing. The relationship with me and my wife has been absolutely insane. Our connection is insane. And for the first time ever, guys, I've been studying Kareza and like tantric, like non-ejaculatory sex, where people say, oh, it's the most amazing sex ever. I feel such a soul connection to my wife, or to my woman, when I'm having sex with her. And the goal is just non-ejaculation. I thought, oh, I'm having sex and I'm not ejaculating. I'm having sex every day for weeks in a row, not ejaculating. Every time I have sex with my wife, I feel no connection to her. It's just a physical act for me. And afterwards, I'm always dissatisfied. I didn't know why, guys. I eventually got to the point where I was literally just having sex with her just to please her. I just like got like satisfaction from how many times I can make her come. I was like, all right, see how many times I can make her come, and then I'd be done. I'd be like, kind of drained. I'd be very drained. And I would just like want to go right back to my work. I wouldn't be really drawn to her at all. And the reason that is because the entire time, guys, up until now, besides that like 3-month period when I was at 22 years old, I didn't really realize how it happened. I don't know how I did it back then. I was taking shrooms like once a week. That probably was it, because I was keeping me out of my ego. But what lust is, guys, it's not happy with a woman I've been dating for 3 years. Lust wants variety. And so every time after I would have sex, I'd be like, this is lame. I want to have sex with a different woman, because I'm driven by lust. And because having sex with the same woman for years straight with no variety, it's not satisfying to lust. It's not, you don't get as much dopamine. And so every time after sex, I would be kind of like unsatisfied. I would never have like a good feeling afterwards, even when I didn't ejaculate. When I didn't ejaculate, I would feel way better because I have keep retain my energy. But I wouldn't feel good towards my wife, really. And I would feel like fine. I got used to it. I was like, okay. Like, I was satisfied that I satisfied her so much, because me making her come 10 times. And guys, it's not me bragging. Before I did the evolved method and penis enlargement, I never made any girl orgasm vaginally. It was only because of self-improvement I'm able to do that anyone else can do. 4-hour masterclass in the description. Go to the sexual mastery method to understand what I'm talking about. I'd be like, great, I made her orgasm 10 times. Now she's all happy and feminine in a great mood. So our relationship's better, but like, whatever. And I just go about my life. Since my realization Saturday, my acceptance that I'm a lustful person, and me constantly checking to make sure lust is in the back seat. For the first time now, oh, Dad.
Interrupting something.
Yes, you're interrupting an important message.
Who is it to?
The world.
Good. Better go vegan.
Oh yeah, he says you gotta go vegan. My dad.
A line in the sand. You're gonna have to pick sides soon, and I mean soon.
All right, Dad. All right, so where was I, guys? Immediately when I came back from California, came back and I did not have lust in my head or driving me, and I slept with my wife. Freaking insane. I could literally feel all the things that everyone was talking about when it came to Kareza, where our souls unite, and we were both literally having sex in the green. We were laughing. We were like, this is the most amazing sex we've ever had in my life. And later I admitted to her my problem with lust, and that I was hiding from her that I would watch porn occasionally, and because it was so infrequent compared to the average guy, I just thought, it's just a part of being a man, and so I'm not gonna bother her with that, with the knowledge that I'm doing that, because it hurts her. And she cried, but she the fact that I was able to tell her made her actually feel good and trust me more and trust my leadership more. I admitted to her that I think that every time we had sex, I was lusting the entire time, that I wasn't satisfied because of the material pursuit of lust is variety, and that's why I never felt connected to you. I would say, oh, I feel so connected to you when we have sex, and I said it just was like a physical thing to me. It's something to check off. And now, guys, it's the opposite. Now our souls are uniting every time we connect, and it's absolutely amazing and so connecting. And yesterday, after we slept together, we got didn't ejaculate because I didn't keep my energy, but we just laid together in bed, guys, and it was the most blissful, peaceful union. And we were just cuddling each other in bed, and it was better than a feeling of just pure bliss and happiness, which is the first time I ever experienced that in all my time having sex ever. And it's because of this lesson that I'm sharing with you guys today. I urge you to accept your sin. Analyze yourself, guys. Think what motivates you. Where do you get the most dopamine from, guys? You're gonna know because you think about it every day. Well, what are you chasing every day? Is it sloth? Right? Can you not wait to just lay around and play video games and do nothing and smoke weed? Is it eating? Are you motivated to go eat and food? Is it lust like me? Is it sex? Is it sex for you? Is it anger and raging? Do you have to go just enrage and take your anger out on people? Is it hating? Do you guys have to write hate comments? And do you look at the accounts of people on social media who you hate and just ruminate on them and ruminate on hating them? Is it greed? Is it getting money, as much money as you can, more money than you need? And lastly, the most difficult of them all, guys, is pride. If your sin is pride, it will be the most difficult for you to align yourself with source, because in order to admit your sin, even for me, as someone who's, I teach semen retention, I teach them how to avoid porn. I'm not lustful. It was shameful for me to even admit that, and now admit that to you guys publicly now. And so, if you're prideful, guys, what it takes to admit your sin is humility, and that is the sin of pride. Is that it's hard to be humble, and you get dopamine from not being humble. So, if that's your sin, guys, I encourage you just to do your best to objectively analyze it. And if you really want to align yourself with source, which is more important now than ever, guys, we're getting into unprecedented times. I'm telling you, stuff in the world is happening, it's changing, and we need as many people as possible to align themselves with source, so that source can use your vessel to help change the world, and so we can align the full collective human consciousness with source and create heaven on earth. So I'll be making more content on this in the future, guys. I'm gonna make a presentation where I actually visually show this out in diagrams, so you guys can actually see like what I'm seeing in my head and how I'm actually checking myself all throughout the day to make sure that I'm aligned with source and not with my ego, which is sin, which is my dopamine source. Dopamine is motivation. What is motivating my actions right now? Is it to help others, or is it to get my dopamine, which for me is lust? And it's gluttony, but because I take GLP-1s, miracle drug, literally just turns off an entire sin of humanity. It's absolutely insane. So for me right now, it's only lust. I encourage you guys, step one starts today. Write in the comment section below, what is your sin, right? If you have an anonymous account, I'm not gonna know who you are. No one's gonna know who you are. Just say, I am this, all right? I, Michael, am lustful. But that's okay, because that's my ego and my vessel. It's not what's eternal. It's not the spark. It's not the source inside me. That's eternal. And I have that, and that is now in the front seat, driving my vessel. And it is what it is. I hope you guys can tell just through listening to me that is what is presenting this message. Source is through me is presenting to you this message today. So if you guys made it to the end, thank you, guys. Please accept your sin, align yourself with source ASAP, because we need it. So as always, subscribe for truth. Peace.